Greetings to you, Steve with FloatChecker here. In this video, we're going to set up a scanner that's going to help you find the so-called gappers, or big stock gainers that are running up in the morning and are on every trader's radar. We'll set it up in a way that will help you identify these stocks early so you can quickly buy in and hopefully be set up for larger gains as the morning continues and other traders start discovering and buying up the stock as well. You know, like many of you, I'm sure, I was always frustrated that by the time the bell rings at 9:30 a.m., it seemed like so many of the top gaining stocks would fail because they already made their big moves in pre-market. So this is a tool that can help you get in early and profit from those pre-market gains. We're going to set up a scanner and then we're going to put it in a watch list like this that we can pin to our viewing area. That way, as you click around and you make changes, the watch list will always be there. It's going to be updating. It's going to populate with stock gappers as they arise. And to help you identify these potential gappers early, we'll make this custom column right here. We're calling that volume spike percentage, but you'll be able to name it whatever you like. That column is going to alert you to stocks that are seeing unusually high volume in real time, which means a lot of traders are interested, and therefore you should probably be interested as well. And these gappers can occur anytime during pre-market, typically due to a news catalyst. You'll see here in the watch list, these little yellow balls signify there's been a news release perhaps. Or maybe it's a continuation of a low float stock that had big gains the previous day. So I appreciate you checking this video out. It'll be a little bit longer, but you can always speed it up using the YouTube player options if you like. But I think this is going to be valuable for people who want to take advantage of the big pre-market moves, as well as people who just want to trade early in the morning or don't want to spend hours in front of their computer screen. That's especially for people who are looking to get into trading part-time, who want to trade before work or school. But first, I had mentioned Float before. Just a quick plug for our site, FloatChecker. I'm going to minimize this watch list. You can come to our site, type in your ticker, and you can quickly compare the stock float, the short interest, the short percent of float, outstanding shares across all these financial websites, all in one easy search. I like to take a quick look at this, scan the numbers, see that they look similar. That gives me a little bit more confidence about what the float is before I enter a trade. Now, there's no email sign up or anything like that. It's just designed to get you the information as fast as possible to help you with your decision making. I'm going to minimize. I'm going to get rid of the watch list for now. We're going to move up here to the top of the screen. We're going to hit the obvious button here, scan. Now, when you come to your scan tab, it may not look like this, and that's fine, because we're going to start with a clean slate. We're going to come over here to add filter to the right hand side. We're going to remove all filters. So now we can start fresh. Before we begin adding filters here, I want to make sure that I'm in all listed stocks, because I want to focus on the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, the Amex. I don't want to see the OTC penny stocks. Now we're going to add first start filtering by price. We're going to press add filter here to the right. Now I like to cast a fairly wide net in the morning, so we're going to go back over here to the left, follow my cursor. We're going to choose last. I'm going to look at a minimum of 50 cents, and I will have a maximum price of $55. A lot of things with Thinkorswim, as you know, there's a lot of room for customization based on your personal preferences. So you'll be able to move that up or down if you like. I tend to focus on the lower price stocks, although I like to see a wide range of movers in the morning. You can use these sliders if you prefer to move the numbers. But I like to just type it right in the window. We're going to add another filter, another stock filter for volume. So we're going to come across, back to the left, scroll down, find volume, and we're going to start out with 20,000 shares in the morning, I'd like to see. I'm going to leave the maximum window empty. Now we're going to add one more stock filter. This is going to be a bit of a hack, because I want to filter out things like stock warrants or stray OTC penny stocks that somehow show up on the scanner at times. Though you have to keep in mind that the scanner isn't always perfect. As everyone knows, Thinkorswim is used by millions of traders, and TD Ameritrade's computer servers are providing tons of data in real time. And the platform can be laggy, and the scanner can sometimes get a little bit wonky, but for the most part, it works fine. And as they say, let's not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. So I'm going to come here to stock filter, choose market cap. I'm going to choose a low number here. And again, this is just to filter out things like stock warrants. You may not even need that if you want to see those types of securities. Okay. We can begin scanning now, but I want to add actually one more filter. I'm going to add a study filter this time, because I want to see stocks that are moving up at least 2% or more. I don't want to see stocks that are just up maybe half a percent or are moving down. So I'm going to come here to this study filter. I'm going to go to price performance, after hours percent change, which includes pre-market, and I'm going to have 2%, and we have extended hours checked, and we're on the 1 minute time frame. So we can hit scan. Okay. You may not see anything at this point, and that's fine. The reason for that is you need, in pre-market, in order to see the values, you need to, the stocks, you need to have mark and mark percent change is what you want. It's very easy to do. You'll see along this column header row, there's a little toolbar all the way to the right. I prefer, though, to just right-click somewhere in these columns and press Customize. When you're here, you're going to come to this window and you're going to type in mark. You want to add mark and add mark percent of change, and then you can move them up or down. You can also change them once they're here in your column row, but I'm not going to add those because I already have them. And then you can see I've got my custom column here. I'm going to remove that for now because we're going to add a new one. Press OK. So you should see mark and mark percent of change. Maybe you have to hit scan again, and then you can just sort it, and then you should see the top moving stocks in the morning. I have this showing 200 stocks, and that should be fine. So now we're going to add our custom column. We'll add it first, and then we're going to put it into a watch list. Then I'm going to explain to you what it does and how it can help you. Let me bring up the script that we're going to use now. This script will be available on our blog. I'm going to leave a link in the description where you can get it and copy and paste it as well. So I'm highlighting it all. Copy. Let's go back here. Now, to add the column, again, we can go back and use this little gear icon, which is always hard for me to grab. I'm going to right click, again, in the header row, Customize. When you're here in this window, you want to scroll down on the left-hand side until you see custom columns. And you should see those. You have a certain number of custom columns. Your numbers might be a little different. It doesn't matter. I don't know what the limit of the custom columns that you're allowed to have. You could always rewrite over a prior script if you don't see custom column. What we want to do, you can choose, it doesn't matter which one you choose. You want to click this little icon just to the left. That'll bring up this Think Script window. You want to delete the default text. Come over to the Think Script tab here. Click that. You want to right click in this window. You want to paste the script. Okay, you'll see the script. Then we want to rename it. Come up to this window for the custom name. I'll call it V-Spike percentage this time. And I want the 1 minute time frame. We'll press apply. Okay. And then you should see it. You want to add that item. Press OK. And you'll see it here on the right hand side. We can adjust these columns to make them a little bit more visible. Okay. Now we want to save this scanner. We want to save this scan that we just did. In order to do that, come up here to the right, because we need to save it in order to bring it up to our watch list. I'm going to save the scan. I'm going to name it this time. I'll call this PM for Premarket Gappers. You can name it whatever you like. So now we'll just check. If you go to Load Scan Query under Personal, you should see it there. Okay. We're going to go back now to our Trade tab here to the left. In order to bring up the watch list, we want to scroll along the left-hand side, open up our gadget area. If you don't see the watch list gadgets, you could always switch one of these gadgets. There's options to switch gadgets and to bring up the watch list. So I'm going to detach this. I want to pin it to the viewing area so it stays up, the little pin button. I'm going to close the gadget area. And now, when you click on the watch list name area, you can go into Personal and you should find PM Gappers. Similarly, we'll have to add the mark and mark percent change columns so you can see values in Premarket. Very easy to do. There's a little gear icon here where you can just right click in the header row. You want to type in mark. And I want to add mark percent change. I'm going to go ahead and remove last for now and percent change for now. And I'm going to move this down. So that's the volume. Oh, actually, I have to add our custom V-Spike column. I'm going to type in V-Spike, and you should see it. It should pop up. Add it. Press OK. And then you can sort. And then you should see the top movers in the morning. Let's go through this column. And I'm going to show you what it does and how it works visually as well. So our custom column, that number that it is providing is a percentage. That percentage represents the volume in the current bar that is above the average volume for the stock. It's going to begin to print when the current volume is 10% or more above the average volume. And we'll be able to customize that. So that is the current volume that's above the percentage of the current volume that's above the average volume. Now let me show you what I mean by this visually. Let's pick up this stock, DRCT, and I'm going to zoom in, type. Look at the current bar. You see this yellow line? This is my average volume. In my case, in this indicator, it's the last 50 bars. That bar, okay, we just had a new bar start. So with each new bar, this window will reset back to 0. So this yellow line represents the average volume over the last 50 bars. That is from my volume indicator. Your average volume line might be 20 or 30, and we'll be able to adjust that momentarily. So if you want to have a volume indicator like this, I'll have a link at the end of the video where you can get this, but it should work with any type of average volume line that you're using. So let's look here at this stock, PBIG. Stock is moving. The current volume, the time, look at this yellow line, look at this volume bar. We are over 600% higher in the volume in this current bar than the average volume line. So when you open your Thinkorswim in the morning and you've got your watch list, this will begin to populate with the runners. And as the movers really begin, as these gapping stocks begin to reveal themselves, as you've seen, you're going to see numbers going from, in this column, 50%, 100%, 300%. sometimes 1,000 or 3,000%. That's going to allow you to quickly move over, look at the stock, and say, is this something I want to join in now? Do I want to get into this momentum now? Or do I want to wait for a pullback? Perhaps to the VWAP. Let me check out if there's been a news release. Let me look at the float. You'll be able to use all your decision-making tools to decide, I want to get on this stock. So hopefully, as the morning continues, you'll already be in, and then you'll be set up nicely for some big profits, especially if there aren't as many gappers on the watch list and you've gotten in earlier on the most obvious one. Now, we'll do some customizing. As I spoke about, it's very easy to customize the column. We're going to right-click on the V-Spike column. We're going to go to Edit Formula. Now, let's look at the formula. Let's go through this. The first line is the average volume length, which we talked about here. This is my yellow line in my volume indicator. You can change that number to 20 or 30 if you like. The next line, this is the percent spike above which that column will start to print. Okay, I have it set for when the volume is 10% or more above the average volume, this number will start firing off. You can change that to 20 or 30 if you like. This is seconds in the day, this next line. This is used for the formula. You could, certain trading days, only a few times a year before Christmas or Thanksgiving, we have like half a day or less hours of trading. Typically, we have to change that to this number, 12,600. But again, very infrequently. And then the final item you can change, I added this line at the end, line 13. What this does is, you'll see it here. You might have seen it earlier. This number will print green when the current bar opens higher than the close of the previous bar. That'll give you a sense of stocks that are seeing volume and are moving up. We're not seeing it at the moment, but this number will turn green when that occurs. So, oh, here it is right here. You can see it here. Okay. I customized this script from one that I found on a TD Ameritrade YouTube channel. Okay. Here's the video. You can check it out if you like. The instructor, Ken Rose, he goes more into the mechanics of the script and how the coding works. But it gives me a little bit more confidence in using this script since it's from a TD Ameritrade site. So one last item is that this is set for the 1 minute time frame. If you like to look at 5-minute candles, you can change that here. You can change that to 5 minutes, press apply, hit OK. And it's actually quite easy to do on the fly as you get more comfortable. You just right click on the column header and hit edit formula. It brings it up right away. So that's our pre-market scanner. I hope you find it helpful, and I don't want the video to get too much longer, so maybe in the future we'll do some videos actually applying this. A few final items. If you make changes to your scanner, which you're free to do, you have to save the scan under the same name that you used in order for the changes to be reflected in the watch list. Okay? Also, this scanner will go dark once pre-market is over and you get into the regular trading day. If you want to use this more as a day scanner, you have to remove this study line here. You just have to X this out and then resave it as a new scan. You can call it day gappers or day scan, whichever you choose. Finally, in order for the watch list settings here, especially the column headers, to be saved, you got to realize you've actually created a new layout in Thinkorswim. So you want to save this here. You want to save it as a new workspace, and it will appear in this area. And that way, when you bring it up in the morning, your columns should look the way that you want them. Okay. Well, that's it for now. I hope you find this scanner helpful. If so, please consider subscribing, and I'll talk to you again soon in the next one. Okay, thanks.